Chapter 1. The Whispering Realtor. When Clara Miller moved to Ridgeway, she wasn't looking for a story. As a freelance investigative journalist burned out by years of crime reporting, she just wanted quiet. The small town of Holbrook promised exactly that. Manicured lawns, nosy neighbors, and a quaint main street that looked like it had been frozen in 1965. But when she toured the home on Elderberry Lane, the realtor, a sharp-eyed woman named June, hesitated before the backyard. "There's, a storm drain back there," she said too quickly. Clara noticed how her voice dropped, like someone might be listening. June didn't offer a yard tour, didn't open the sliding door. And that night, when Clara signed the lease and moved in, she kept replaying the odd interaction in her head. The backyard looked normal at first. Overgrown, maybe. Quiet. Except for one thing, a patch of dirt, about 6 feet long, that refused to grow grass. Chapter 2. The spot where nothing grows. Clara tried to dismiss it. Lots of lawns had dead spots. But the shape, it was too deliberate. When her neighbor, an elderly man named Mr. Delaney, brought over a welcome pie, she casually mentioned the yard. His expression fell. His lips tightened. "You'll want to leave that alone," he said. "Some things are better not stirred up." Clara blinked. "It's just a patch of dead grass." Delaney leaned in. "That street, Elderberry Lane, has its stories, but no one talks about them. You start digging, Miss Miller, and you might end up 6 feet under like the rest." She laughed nervously. "That a joke?" He didn't smile. Chapter 3. Every house. Every yard. The next morning, Clara woke with a pit in her stomach. She walked down Elderberry Lane with her coffee, pretending to admire landscaping. Each house had a backyard, and each backyard had a similar patch. Some had flower beds covering it. Others had stone slabs or decorative rocks. But it was always the same size. Roughly 6 feet by 2. She knocked on doors. Most people didn't answer. Those who did gave short, polite responses. "Oh, that's been there since before we moved in. No idea what it is. We just left it alone. I wouldn't go digging around here, sweetheart." One house, though, number 19, had a for sale sign and a lockbox. The grass was uncut. The windows boarded. Clara broke in. Chapter 4. What the basement revealed. Number 19 smelled like mildew and secrets. Furniture still covered in white sheets. Mail stacked by the door. The power was off, but she had a flashlight. In the basement, she found something unexpected. A wall of yellowing newspapers tacked up like wallpaper. Missing girl. Lucy Kramer, 7. Last seen on Elderberry Lane. 2 more children disappear. No suspects. Parents blame local mystery. Police stumped. Every headline was a tragedy. Every photo showed a different child. All from Holbrook. All vanished. Dates ranged from the 1960s to the early 2000s. But one article had a red string pinned to it, stretching across the room to a dusty corkboard. Clara followed it, and saw her own address. Chapter 5. Town Secrets, Buried Deep. The town librarian, Ms. Penelope Griggs, was 93 and nearly blind, but she remembered every face that walked into Holbrook. When Clara asked her about the disappearances, she hesitated. Then, quietly, she unlocked a cabinet labeled Town Records, Restricted. Inside were files marked Unsolved, Closed by Order. Clara leafed through them. 14 children. All lived on Elderberry Lane. All vanished without a trace. Police investigations were brief. In some, the reports simply ended mid-sentence. "Why are these sealed?" Clara asked. Ms. Griggs replied, "Because they found the children. But not alive." Her voice dropped. Each one was buried in their own backyard, but no charges were ever filed. Why? Because it wasn't one person. It was all of them. Chapter 6. A Town That Kills Together. Holbrook, 1956. A child predator moved onto Elderberry Lane. When he was caught, the police refused to act. No hard evidence. But the parents acted. They didn't go to the cops. They killed him. Together. Buried him behind house number 3. But something changed. Whether it was guilt, paranoia, or something darker, the murders didn't stop. Whenever a child misbehaved, wandered too far, or shamed their family, they vanished. It became a ritual. Tradition. Every generation joined in. Every adult knew. The children did not. Until the town started running out of excuses. Out of scapegoats. Chapter 7. Clara starts digging. Clara rented ground-penetrating radar from a contact. Told no one. The scanner lit up with anomalies in every yard. Human-shaped voids. Dozens. She dug in her own yard. At 3 feet, she found a shoe. At 5 feet, she hit something soft. A plastic-wrapped bundle. Child-sized. She vomited. She called the sheriff. He arrived in minutes. Too fast. He didn't even get out of the car. Just rolled down his window. You need to stop, Ms. Miller. Before you make things difficult. Clara stared at him. I have evidence. I'm going to the feds. He replied. We are the feds. And you're not the first reporter who tried this. Chapter 8. Livestream from hell. Clara, desperate, went live on YouTube. Showed the body. The scanner results. Read the reports. Within 15 minutes, she had 40,000 viewers. Then, the live stream cut off. Her account was suspended. Her laptop fried. Her phone died mid-call. The power went out. Someone knocked on her door. Not forceful, just steady. Knock, knock, knock. Chapter 9. Evidence vanishes. The next morning, her yard was clean. No sign of digging. No scanner. No bones. The sheriff claimed she was having a breakdown. Mr. Delaney told neighbors Clara had gone back to the city. But her car was still there. And she wasn't. Chapter 10. Another grave appears. A week later, the grass in Clara's backyard was replaced with decorative pebbles. Nice and neat. 6 feet by 2. The neighbors complimented the upgrade. No one mentioned the smell. And when a new family moved in, with a young daughter named Lily, the cycle was ready to begin again. Because on Elderberry Lane, each house has a grave. And no one talks about it. Chapter 11. The woman in the window. A month after Clara vanished, a new tenant moved into her house. Marissa Kemp. 29. Recent divorcee. Corporate accountant. No pets. No children. She never saw the listing. It was emailed to her personally, with a message that read, "Quiet neighborhood. Safe for starting over." The price was absurdly low. She thought she'd gotten lucky. The neighbors were polite. Almost too polite. A casserole waited at her door before she'd even unpacked. But the second night, she noticed something odd. From her upstairs window, she could see into the neighbor's yard, the Delaney house. Every night at 3 a.m., Mr. Delaney would walk outside and stand beside the stone-covered grave in his yard, staring at it, motionless. Chapter 12. Clara's last message. On her 5th night in the house, Marissa unpacked the attic. Tucked behind an old beam was a phone. Dusty, screen shattered. She plugged it in. It turned on. The lock screen read, "Clara Miller. ICE contact." There were only 2 video files on the phone. The first was a shaky recording of her backyard. Digging. Breathless commentary. A blurred glimpse of a child's shoe. The second video cut in with Clara whispering frantically, "If you're watching this, I didn't leave. I didn't go back to New York. They'll erase everything. Every bone. Every file. It's all real. Every single yard." The video cut off with a loud knock. Then black. Marissa backed away from the phone. And then the knocking began again. But this time, it was at her door. Chapter 13. The Bricks Bleed. Determined to find out more, Marissa visited house number 19, the one Clara had broken into. This time, the boards had been nailed tighter. But Marissa was resourceful. She found a basement window, crawled through. Inside, it was silent. But something had changed. The walls were freshly painted. No newspapers. No string. No files. All scrubbed clean. But then she noticed something leaking from a hairline crack in the basement wall. Red. Thick. Oozing. She pressed her finger to it. It was blood. That night, she had a nightmare. Of being buried. Alive. Screaming. Dirt in her mouth. When she woke, there was soil under her fingernails. Chapter 14. A hidden tunnel. In the attic, where she'd found Clara's phone, Marissa discovered a trapdoor beneath a dusty rug. Below it, a wooden ladder. She climbed down into darkness, phone light trembling. It opened into a narrow tunnel, barely wide enough to crawl through. It stretched for what seemed like forever. Etched along the walls were names. Children's names. Some she recognized from Clara's files. Somewhere new. One stopped her cold. Lily Kemp. Her niece's name. Alive and well. Living in Chicago. But the year etched beside it read 2025. This year. This month. She stumbled backward. And then, from deep in the tunnel, she heard whispering. Chapter 15. The town has eyes. Panicked, Marissa ran to the sheriff's office. But the woman behind the desk smiled too warmly. "Ah, Clara's replacement. We've been expecting you. I need to speak to someone in charge." The sheriff walked out from the back. Same man Clara had met. He looked at her calmly and said, "You found the tunnel, didn't you?" Marissa froze. "How do you?" He stepped forward. "Let me give you some advice, Ms. Kemp. There are places in this country where old sins are forgotten. Buried. That's what we do here. We keep the past underground." He handed her a brochure. Holbrook, where history stays buried. On the back was a quote. Some stories shouldn't be told. Chapter 16. The Child Who Returned. That night, Marissa fled. Packed a bag. Called her sister in Chicago. But when she arrived, Lily was missing. Gone from her room. Her bed undisturbed. Toys untouched. A single sheet of paper lay on her desk. She shouldn't have gone digging. Underneath the note was a black and white photograph. It showed Marissa, Clara, and Lily, all holding shovels. It was dated 1957. But Marissa hadn't even been born then. Chapter 17. The grave that wasn't there yesterday. Marissa drove back to Elderberry Lane. Screaming. Begging. Accusing the sheriff. "I saw her name in the tunnel. You took her." He calmly pointed to her own backyard. She turned. There, where the pebbles once were, a fresh grave had been dug. 6 feet by 2. But this one had something new. A headstone. It read, "Here lies the truth. Died trying." Chapter 18. The Reporter in the Mirror. Marissa moved out the next day. Or tried to. She packed. Called a moving truck. But when she looked in the mirror that morning, she didn't see her reflection. She saw Clara, dirt-streaked, pale, screaming behind the glass. And in that moment she understood. She hadn't taken over Clara's house. She'd taken over her place. The grave in her yard wasn't for someone else. It was for her. Chapter 19. The street doesn't let you leave. Clara. Marissa. Dozens of others. All disappeared. No headlines. No police reports. No funerals. The town absorbs them. Erases them. And every new tenant is carefully chosen. The graveyard grows. Quietly. Neatly. Each house on Elderberry Lane still has a grave. And now, there's one house left unoccupied. Yours. Chapter 20. The Outsider. Miles away, in a small apartment outside Columbus, Ohio, Jordan Lee, a digital archivist and amateur conspiracy podcaster, was deep into researching digital ghosts, internet videos that disappear with no trace. That's when he found the cached fragment of a YouTube stream. It was only 37 seconds long. Grainy. Distorted. But one name was spoken clearly. My name is Clara Miller. If this stream ends, they got me. Jordan's skin prickled. He ran a metadata trace. The upload had come from a town called Holbrook, Missouri. No official records showed a woman named Clara Miller ever living there. But he found one listing on a mirror site. For rent. 312 Elderberry Lane. Immediate occupancy. No background check required. Chapter 21. Visitors pass. Jordan packed his gear. Hidden cameras, drones, a Geiger counter, and multiple GPS trackers. He wasn't about to end up like those he investigated. He drove through Holbrook at noon. The town looked perfect. Fresh paint, trimmed hedges, American flags, children playing in the distance. But none of them looked at him. Not once. He parked in front of Clara's old house. The mailbox still bore her name. Inside the window, he thought he saw movement, a silhouette. But when he knocked, no one answered. Still, the front door was unlocked. Chapter 22. The House That Remembers. Inside, the furniture was dusty, but undisturbed. A glass of water sat on the coffee table. Half full. Still had condensation. He scanned the house. Nothing obvious. Until he entered the basement. The far wall, which had supposedly been painted over after Clara's discovery, was once again covered with new newspaper clippings. But these ones were about Marissa Kemp. Missing. No known contacts. Family claims she never existed. The last clipping was dated tomorrow. And below it, a Polaroid. Jordan. Standing in front of the house. Taken that day. Chapter 23. Beneath the tunnel. Determined to escape before things got worse, Jordan tried to leave. But his car wouldn't start. The roads were empty. Even the air felt heavier. He returned to the house and reopened the attic. The trapdoor Clara found was still there. This time, the tunnel had changed. It wasn't just names on the walls. There were photos. Hundreds of them. Children. Adults. Reporters. Curious strangers. Each with a note beneath. Dug too deep. Asked the wrong questions. Didn't listen. Didn't leave. And then, Jordan saw a final photo. Himself. Beneath it. Arrived at 3:47 p.m. Buried 9:12 p.m. He checked his watch. 8:03 p.m. Chapter 24. The Town's Ritual. Deeper in the tunnel, Jordan stumbled into a large underground chamber. In the center was a mound, like a burial site. Around it were dozens of town residents, all standing silently, eyes closed. In their hands, dirt. Each one stepped forward, dropping a handful onto the mound. They murmured in unison. Feed the past. Forget the present. Jordan recorded everything. Backed up footage to the cloud. Then the sheriff appeared, stepping into the circle, holding a shovel. Some towns are built on gold. Ours is built on memory, he said. Jordan ran. Chapter 25. Broadcast from the grave. Back in Clara's old office, Jordan broke into the fiber box. He connected his satellite uplink. Started a live stream. Broadcasting from inside the house, he revealed Clara's footage, Marissa's headstone, his own photo with a burial timestamp, the tunnel of names. Thousands watched. 10K, 30K, 90K viewers. Until the stream glitched. The camera cut to static, then to black. Viewers claim they heard digging sounds. A muffled scream. And then one final whisper. One more house left. Chapter 26. Fresh dirt. The next day, Elderberry Lane looked the same. Peaceful. Children played. The sheriff waved at a passing car. And a moving truck pulled up to the last vacant home, number 308. Fresh pebbles glistened in the morning sun beside every yard. Everyone had a grave, including the newest one. The headstone read, Jordan Lee. Tried to remember. Became a memory. Chapter 27. The map that lied. A month after Jordan Lee's disappearance, Eloise Rayner, a seasoned geospatial analyst with the U.S. Geological Survey, noticed something strange. She was processing updated satellite imagery of Missouri when she found a blank spot, a 3-mile stretch of forest where a town used to be. Her database listed no anomaly. But when she overlaid an older 1987 map, there it was, Holbrook. Yet recent Google Earth scans, drone footage, and road data showed only undeveloped woodland. She called the State Planning Office. They claimed Holbrook was never an incorporated township. Eloise didn't believe it, especially because the satellite file had been altered just 3 days earlier by someone inside Homeland Security. Chapter 28. The Redacted Town. Eloise dug deeper. She accessed a Cold War-era database of quarantine sites, locations flagged for psychological or anomalous activity. Only 14 were still active. Holbrook was listed as Site 12. Status. Containment is successful. No public awareness. Continue civilian rotation protocol. Attached was a list of recycled individuals, names of residents who'd lived in Holbrook, and then been relocated with new identities. Clara Miller was on the list. So was Marissa Kemp. And disturbingly, so was Eloise Rayner. But she had never been to Holbrook. At least, not that she remembered. Chapter 29. Digging into herself. Eloise began having nightmares. A tunnel. A child crying. A woman screaming behind a glass pane. She looked through old journals. Found torn pages. Shaky handwriting. One phrase repeated in red ink. Don't go near Elderberry. Then one night, she woke up with soil beneath her fingernails. And under her bed? A shovel. Clean. Brand new. Still tagged, property of Holbrook Department of Parks. But that department didn't exist. Not anymore. Chapter 30. The voice returns. Podcasts began surfacing again. Distorted, anonymous audio clips featuring familiar voices. Clara, Marissa, Jordan. Each one pleading for help. Each one repeating the phrase, "It's not a town. It's a mouth. And I'm hungry." Eloise isolated the audio. Buried beneath static, she heard coordinates. She mapped them. They pointed to a dead-end dirt road in Missouri. But there was no Holbrook. No signs. No lights. No people. Just forest. Until she heard it. Children's laughter. Echoing. Then, footsteps behind her. Chapter 31. The Buried Town. Driven by obsession, Eloise brought ground-penetrating radar and excavation tools. She returned to the coordinates. She dug. And 7 feet beneath the forest floor, she found concrete. Paved streets. A mailbox. She had found Holbrook. Buried whole. Buildings flattened. Entire town was paved over and hidden. But something moved beneath the soil. She lifted a slab. And found a staircase. It led down. Carved above it, in stone. Abandon remembrance. All ye who enter. Chapter 32. She went live. Eloise activated a private live stream on an encrypted journalist channel. Viewers watched as she descended the stairwell, flashlight flickering. She passed murals painted in red and black. Families gathered around open graves. Children smiling beside coffins. One viewer commented, "That's my grandma's house. That's Elderberry Lane." but it burned down in 1991. Another wrote, "I lived there, but my parents told me it never existed." Thousands watched. Then, Eloise gasped. The camera turned, revealing Clara, still wearing the same clothes. Pale, hollow-eyed. She whispered, "You can't dig up a memory. It digs you." Then the screen went black. Chapter 33. The official report. 2 days later, Homeland Security issued a quiet internal memo. Site 12 breach contained. No media leaks confirmed. Live stream rerouted to decoy servers. Under anomalous events, it simply read, Eloise Rayner, recycled. Chapter 34. The revival. Weeks later, a real estate ad appeared online. No town name. Just a beautiful neighborhood. Homes with backyards. A friendly community. A perfect place to raise children. The listing? 308 Elderberry Lane. Available immediately. Low rent. No questions. No background check. And at the bottom of the ad, now accepting applications for new memories. Chapter 35. The one who remembered. His name was Samuel Griggs. He was 6 years old when his parents vanished from Elderberry Lane. He was found alone, wandering I-70, barefoot, clutching a doll he couldn't name. Doctors said he had trauma-induced amnesia. Foster care took him in. He was renamed, relocated, but he never forgot the number. 308. And he never forgot the word scratched into his bedroom wall. Run. At 38, Samuel became a criminal psychologist. Quiet, obsessive, haunted by nightmares of dirt in his mouth and laughter from the walls. He lived with one question. What town erases itself? And why did it let me go? Chapter 36. Finding the others. Samuel tracked down fragments, rumors, GPS glitches, lost live streams, distorted podcasts. He uncovered the names. Clara Miller, Marissa Kemp, Jordan Lee, Eloise Rayner. All marked deceased. No bodies. No funerals. But everyone had a digital ghost. He cross-referenced data leaks, redacted property records, military base logs, and found it. Site 12. Latitude and longitude pointed to a remote area in Missouri, listed on federal maps as non-accessible wilderness zone. But satellite thermal imaging showed structures underground. And one image caught his breath. A fresh heat signature. 6 feet long. 2 feet wide. Still warm. Still alive. Chapter 37. The Descent. Samuel returned to the place he didn't remember. But his bones did. The forest greeted him with windless silence. He found the stairs. The concrete slab. He dug. He entered. Below, the town was intact, preserved like a diorama, but twisted. Storefronts had no signs. Homes had no doors. And beneath each house, a hatch. He opened the hatch under 308 Elderberry Lane. Inside, he didn't find bones. He found a machine. Chapter 38. The recycle engine. Rows of CRT monitors glowed softly, displaying faces, hundreds of them. Clara, Marissa, Jordan, even Eloise. They were inside it. Looping. Whispers echoed from the walls. Memories belong to the town. You are not forgotten. You are repurposed. Your story ends when we say so. Samuel realized the horrifying truth. Holbrook wasn't a place. It was a construct, built from the collective trauma of those who tried to expose it. The government didn't cover it up because they were complicit. They covered it up because Holbrook was a living archive. A psychic vault of everything society wanted erased. Chapter 39. The final broadcast. Samuel found Clara's recording equipment, still running. He activated it. The live stream went up. Encrypted. Unstoppable. A torrent of images, names, documents. The town's voice fought back. Turn it off. You were supposed to forget. But Samuel remembered. He stared into the camera and said, "We are the ones they buried. And we are not staying silent anymore." Chapter 40. Collapse. The tunnel began to shake. Buildings groaned. Soil cracked. Holbrook was collapsing. Every name etched on the walls began to glow, and then burn away. The graves in each backyard, emptying. A flood of memory exploded from underground, rushing through cell towers, satellites, phones. Across the world, people remembered things they were told never happened. A missing sister. A vanished friend. A journalist who quit suddenly. A town that wasn't on any map. Holbrook was dying. Because the truth had gone viral. Chapter 41. The street is gone. The next day, government drones flew over the coordinates. Where Holbrook once stood, a crater. No structures. No people. No graves. But across the country, strange things happened. People woke up with soil on their hands. Locked memories returned. Forgotten names appeared in journals. And on one empty lot in Missouri, a new sign stood. Land available. Quiet neighborhood. Perfect for starting over. The last message. One final video appeared on Clara Miller's channel. No user uploaded it. No metadata. Just a black screen. And a voice. Every story buried in silence will one day scream loud enough to crack the earth. Don't rent. Don't buy. Don't walk down Elderberry Lane. The end.